I'm CK. Today we've got another one from Axis Modular. This is their LK delay, in other words locking delay. It's a digital delay with locking in it. I've liked the other two Axis products I did in the last month or so, and I'm looking forward to this one, and I hope you enjoy the video. Axis Modular out of Hampshire in the United Kingdom. Picked it up from Thonk, as I get most of my modules from. Let's go ahead and break the little seal here. See what we got. Got one envelope unmarked. Oh, LK1. This one is probably LK2. Good. Got a couple of chips. One's probably a DSP. Probably the actual delay unit. I forget that chip number, but it'll come to me because I think I've used the chip they're going to use. I think it's the Princeton Tech delay chip. I don't know. I think that's what they're probably using. I'm completely speculating on that. It just happens to be a good delay chip. Couple of 10 100K pots, and these are 10Ks, 25K, and 100K. So there's a switch, probably at least one switch in one of these bags. Let's open this and take a look at the circuit board and front panel. And you'll notice, by the way, that and two screws to mount it in your rack. All the packaging is paper, which is nice. I can recycle that. It's not a bunch of bubble wrap or whatever. We'll get the box ready for recycling. Now we'll look at the front panel. We've got a big knob here with a clock by it, which I would say is delay time. And then here's lock level. And here's mix. I don't know what it's mixing. If it's mixing unlocked and locked. Input level, feedback level, sound in, CV for delay time coming in here, and output. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, okay, that's where it is. That's a push button. Everything else is pretty straightforward, so that's going to be the push button that allows us to lock stuff. On the back, none of the values listed except for the ICs, and this one is a TL074, that's an op amp, and then here is PT2399, so that is the Princeton Tech delay. I'm pretty gosh darn sure. Let me double check it, because I don't want to guess. I mean, I don't want to guess any more than I already have. PT2399 data sheet. It's an Echo audio processor IC, as I thought. So that's the delay unit, goes right there. Looks pretty straightforward. No values on the board, so we will need a build guide. And I'm going to use two parts trays, if I can find them. Where did my parts trays walk away to? Hold on, camera skip while I go find a parts tray. Okay, we'll put LK1 bag in here, and that's got, making sure I got everything out of there. I do. All the resistors are marked thoughtfully. Capacitors, electrolytics, more capacitors. Here's the push button switch. Click, click, click for lock. So yeah, that's just a bunch of, oh, is this a transistor or a voltage regulator? I can't read the part number. I think it's a voltage regulator, but I'm not certain. couple of diodes, and this is a transistor 3905. And this looks like an inductor. Is this an inductor? Nope, it's a resistor. Okay, so that's bag 1. And in bag 2, we've got something. Oh, the jacks. All the jacks, and the panel nuts are still on them. Wham! Means I got to take them off myself. So it looks pretty straightforward. I'd say beginner to intermediate level build. Is that enough pots? Where did I put the circuit board? Yeah, that's enough pots. I mean jacks. I'd say beginner to intermediate on the build. And let's get the soldering iron heated up and put together, and we might have ourselves another nice new delay. Pulled up the build guide, and it is got lots of pictures. It's got the component installation list by positioning. I'm now just running through the pictures to see if there's anything that surprises me at all. And no, looks all pretty much as one would expect. And there'll be a sound skip here because I got to sneeze. So we will start with getting a piece of solder from somewhere. Did I use up? I guess I did. And we'll do the resistors first. And again, this is a SMD quality board. It's through-hole plated, very nice looking. So we're going to start with the 100K resistors. Let me pull them out of here. And we'll put the first one on just to see how close we have to bend the leads to the body, as well as seeing how it takes solder. It should take solder very well, of course, as I mentioned. But I can't find R1. Come on, this is silly. Here it is. It's all the way at the end of the board, right below R18. So we do have to bend the leads pretty much right up against the body of the resistor to have it fit easily into the component holes. We'll solder it up. And the solder wicks through the through holes very well, so that's all good. And that's all I have to say about resistors. So I will put the remaining, let's see, put the remaining 14 or so on the board. And I will speed up the video and mute the commentary and probably cut some of it out also, probably cut a bunch of it out also, because there's not much more to see than just happy resistors going on the board. So enjoy resistor time. And that's resistor time for the kit. And I think what we'll be doing, not too many, so it was pretty convenient. Now we're going to put the power protection diodes on. Keep you from blowing things up if you put your power cable in the wrong way. And as usual, these are the standard 4001s, and they've got this silver stripe, which will match to the white line on the circuit board. If you ever are building pretty much any electronic thing, and it just flat doesn't work when you first power it up, always check your diodes first. And now we'll put all the IC sockets on, two of them. They're in a little bag with the Princeton Tech Echo chip and the op amp. I think these are actual real Princeton Tech. I've got some knockoffs that I bought from eBay. They work, but I don't trust them very much, so we're going to make sure the notch on the socket matches up with the notch on the printed on the circuit board. I don't think those will stay, so we'll put a little piece of card there, set them down, slide the card out. And now I'm going to do one pin on each of the sockets. If I can get my finger in here well. I'm going to see if they're flat to the board. They are, so I'll solder up everything we have on the board unsoldered, starting with the diodes. Sockets and diodes are on. Now we'll do the ceramic caps, and we'll do the 100 nanofarads first. There are decoupling caps which will go probably all around the ICs. I won't solder them quite yet, and then we'll get the 10 nanofarad, the 103. And we'll put that at C18. I think I'll put a couple more in. Now we'll do the foil caps. 10 nanofarad foil caps. Double check that. Barely read this. I hate this gray on blue coloring. You got 8 104s and 2 102s, so make sure you get those all in the right place. And the 2 1 microfarads at C8 and C19. Now these are, you can tell the difference because these, at least from this manufacturer, have black writing on the 1 nanofarads, not gray. Okay, let me solder all this stuff up. There's all those fellas. Now put the power regulator in. And even though I can't read it really well, it is a 78 LO5, so it's 5-volt power regulator. And now we'll put the PNP transistor in. Which is down here at the bottom. I think these leads are spread a little wide. Well, they're spread way wide. And now we'll put the Mylar cap in here. I'm not sure why he did this, but obviously he needed the response curve different for this. And I think I want to put all the electrolytics on. He has the power connector going on next, but I'm going to put all the electrolytics on. They're all 10 nanofarad, a microfarad, and they've got a nice plus sign on the board for the long lead. Oop, yes, 10 nanofarad. They're all 25 volts too. They're pretty capable, more capable than power-wise than this board's ever going to see. Now we'll put the power connector in, and it's going to go on this side because, as you can see, this is a single board. There's not a board for the some components and the pots and knobs on the other components. So what we want to do is we want to grab, just to make sure we're going to get it right, we're going to put the keyed connector in there and look for where the red stripe goes. There's also a groove cut in the printing on the board, so we know we've got it right. And I'm not trying to get this right off the bat. I'm gonna do one pin, let it cool, pick it up. It's not quite flat, so I'm gonna press on it with my forefinger, reheat the solder, and it went down nicely. Now we're gonna flip over and do the other side of the board. Going to go together very quickly. Before I do that though, I'm going to take my little card and double check that I've got everything soldered. Okay, so I'm going to take the 100K up. I got to take that panel nuts off these. Hold on a second. Okay, now we're going to take the 100K and put it at R20. R20, where am I? Confusing myself. These actually do have their values marked. And we've got, these are both, we've got a 25K. So he puts a 25K in here for what he calls a nice clean delay, but he's also says you can try a 50K if you have one. Noisy, slower delay times is what he calls it. I like a nice clean delay, so I'll go with what he's supplied. Now we'll put in the little blue guys, the 100Ks. These are all B taper, by the way. We're not soldering those yet. Now we're going to put the switch on, and as you should be able to see here, there's a flat side marked. And there's a flat side on the switch. You want them to match. If you don't match, it will act really funny. And now we'll put all the jacks in. All the jacks in. There's only 3 of them. Now we'll grab our front panel. Put it on. Oh, that's tight. These are kind of tight, but it went on pretty well. Let's grab my little clamp. Clamp that down for a minute. Nothing's rattling. That switch is in well. That's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder the support legs on this top pot. And I'm going to do this jack here. Flip it back over and run the panel nut down. Snug that down. Grab one of the jack nuts. And that goes on the one I soldered, and run that down pretty snugly. Now I can take the clamp away till next time. Everything is still tight, but I do want to get this switch right now, and I want to make sure I have it really flat. So I'm going to take a couple of pieces of foam and rest it like that. That's pressing it down pretty well. I'm going to put a little more weight right there. And get those 4 legs. Test it. Yep, works good. Now I'll do all these other connections. And that is all the connections. Again, I'll double check. Okay, he'd like us to do a quick power check here, and may as well, it doesn't hurt anything. And over the weekend I built a little box for my benchtop stuff so I don't have to have the mess we've seen before. Plug the power in. Power the box up. Now we're going to check for voltages at the right place. If I can detangle my meter leads, which always get tangled up. Oh, I'm going to turn my soldering iron off too. Let me slide some stuff over so you can see what I'm doing. Says this is a good ground point. The meter in there, and then on, I should be getting plus 5 volts here. I'm getting 5 volts there, and I should be getting negative 12 here. Oops. I'm getting 11, that's good enough. And then I should be getting positive 12 here. I'm getting 9. It's kind of weird. Getting 11 there. I'm getting positive 9 here. Well, I think that's within operating limit for these chips. So we'll let it go. With that, that's good enough for me. Now we will put the chips on board. They're all in. All the pins are right. Nothing bent. Now, put all the rest of the panel nuts on. And no, I am not using the washers. I rarely do. And I think he did this the last time too, but these two jack panel nuts are knurled nuts, and then he's got a hex nut on the output. Not real sure why. Now we put the knobs on, and they're your standard knobs, nothing fancy. Turn everything counterclockwise, put the big knob on there. And power cable in. And that's it. That's the way it looks. That's the front, the side, the back, the other side, top and the bottom, and he's got a little space on the board for built by, so we'll just put CK on there, and now we're official, and we'll put it in the rack and see how it reverberates, how it echoes, how it delays. We're in the rack, and we're set up over here. First off, you'll notice on the meter, we're only pulling 6 milliamps on this on the negative 12. What's on the 28 milliamps, peak of 31, that's pretty low power. And I've got the scope up, not for any particular reason other than it's interesting. We're not modifying any waveforms with this, we're just echoing. So let's turn her up. And there's our sequence. Now I've got delay all the way down, I've got feedback about halfway. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it up. And turn the mixer, actually I'm going to turn it halfway and turn the mixer up. And there you can hear it echoey. I'm getting some grittiness in there, that's interesting. Let me turn it way up. I'm going to turn the note down slower a little bit. I'm going to go full wet. That was with the feedback level, feedback off, feedback all the way up. Turn the mix down and the feedback down a little bit. Turn the I'm going to hit the lock button. So you can see it's a good delay. Let me turn this up a little faster. Feedback all the way up again. I'm going to turn the rate down a little bit more. Turn the mix all the way up. Now I'm going to plug in some CV to the clock. So I've got a very slow LFO going into the delay time. Turn that up a little more. So that's kind of fun. I'll take that away again. Feedback about a quarter, and mix about a third. So you get a subtle delay. So as you can hear, there's some grittiness in here. I'm not sure where that's coming from, because when you go pure signal, it's not there. So as you can hear, it's a very serviceable delay. That little bit of extra grit or feedback, I'm not sure whether that's where that's coming from, but I think it's part of the unit. And you can play with CV to make it a little more interesting. And in general, as you saw, it was a very straightforward build, and it comes out with a nice little delay. And overall, very nice little unit from Axis Modular. And I hope you enjoyed the video.